lot of people won't take the time to learn. I know I do. Just a lot of people just settling. There's a simpler way. Long live the fire. One hot summer day at the end of July, around 100 degrees without a cloud in the sky. In the checkout line, I started to eye this much older looking woman, can't even deny. I just kept looking at her and didn't know why. Looking back over my shoulder as I'm passing her by. Wish she would've just looked up so I could at least say hi. Anything like the fireman, you know he ain't shy. Caught up to her in the parking lot, looking so fly. Had me feeling like a young man with the golden eye. I said, excuse me, miss, I don't mean to surprise, but I was waiting for you ever since I saw you inside. This is real, no lie. Wanted to help load groceries that you buy. She said, I can do it myself, but you can give it a try. Cause I can already tell that you're a really nice guy. I bet you're a Christian man, I can already tell. Yes, ma'am, family raised me well. I wasn't ready for what came next as she began to reach for my hand and introduce herself. She said, I'm 94 years old, and in about 3 weeks, me and my husband celebrate 70 years in these streets. She said, I prayed to God this morning that he listens to me, and it must be you that he sent, cause you're the one that I see. Thank you with all of my heart for helping little old me. Pulled out in a 23 Mercedes AMG. How did that relationship come to be? Is it really love, or is it nobody chose to leave? Probably suffered it to be, anticipating, celebrating, since she turned 93. Already 65 when I was 13 and 93. Clearly she'd been doing this a much longer time than me. Used to think I had some experience from my little 17. If I did it all again, man, I wouldn't change a thing. When she said I do, it was 1952. Still another 28 years before I came on the scene. And as I loaded each bag, thinking about what it means to be 94 years old as a king and a queen. See, a lot of people say they want it, but they're not willing to do the work. In love with love, but jump the moment that something doesn't work. Let that sink in. And in case you didn't hear me, let me try this again. I think the best thing I can do is call out women and men. It's what we do in relationships that indicates if we win. When was the last time you said I miss you? Broke away from what you were doing just to stop and kiss her. When was the last time you actually listened? I'm trying to tell you, man, it's like a free admission. Communication can be like a prison, but understanding is the key. It's the glass slipper. Vulnerability in your comprehension. Reciprocation in your actions, like a hair trigger. When was the last time you had a vision? It's hard to do when sex is at the root of most decisions. Don't get me wrong, man, I love women, but it's attractive to a woman to see a man winning. A lot of people have ambition, but they ain't driven. Settle for what they got, patience was thinning. Just stay in your lane and avoid collisions. Introspect and check to see if you can meet conditions. When was the last time you left your inhibitions and wave your magic wand like you was a magician? 1 plus none is really long division, but usually someone fell a victim to their narcissism. It takes emotional intelligence to know the difference. Simply change your position, it ain't a competition. When it all began, it was an expedition. Then somehow in the end, became a demolition. Words become a weapon, it's the ammunition. And when you get tired of the tripping that somebody's missing, that's just how it feels. I think that it was Kendrick that said the one in front of the gun should never run. You're gonna see something else, you can keep living. You get out of your own way when you start forgiving. I'll keep speaking for myself, I ain't never quitting. It's inevitable we get hooked, just keep on swimming. Do yourself a favor and learn about the women. It's gonna take a lot of digging before it starts clicking. Generally speaking, it might take you a little time. Women operate from emotions we find hard to align. The universe is on the main line, but the call gets declined because you've been selling the whole time, hoping one day you can rewind. Preach, fireman, preach. First you gotta suffer by design before you can ever see a sign that you're about to get your shine. A lot of people just complain about how hard it is to grind. Embracing for the worst, acting defeated every time. Experience is the best teacher, I'll tell you what I do with mine. Realize God gave her what I wanted to be mine. We see through a glass darkly, sometimes the blind lead the blind. So I became more inclined to mastermind a peace of mind. Look a woman in the eye and tell exactly what you want. Be honest about your intentions and extremely upfront. Talk to her as a woman, there's no need to be blunt. There's something different she's looking at when determining who to cut. Most of us just reduce it to a six-pack or a gut. Truth is, men and women don't care about the same stuff. Every man wants submission, and every woman wants a man who doesn't act like a simp when he doesn't understand. Instead of showing self-restraint, and acting like a man. We get caught up in the moment, trying to gain the upper hand. A lot of people just keep their head in the sand. Got too busy supplicating until they finally took a stand. The ladies ain't exactly innocent, they can be just as bad, especially when they had a father that wasn't a real dad. Most people spend a lot of time fixing problems they created. A lot of relationships expire once the novelty's outdated. Suddenly everything's complicated. Confusion that he feels makes him more aggravated. We throw our hands up as if it's all overrated, but we rarely take any ownership after being manipulated. You thought things would change, so you waited. Too hard to resist the idea of getting naked. Man, the memories is faded. Sit back and you debated about the picture you was painting. Sounds cliche, but gotta learn the love language before you can fill her cup up and be the one she does her thing with. Make room in your life from what it is that you want. If you don't have the space, you can't receive what you want. If you feel unfulfilled, reevaluate your decision. Made the wrong choice, but the only one that had to live with. If you can't say 100% that you know, the one that gives you the hard time is the reason that you grow. Sex is not a love language despite the lines that you throw. And if she isn't feeling connected, it's no guarantee that you'll know. Women move off the radar, so pay close attention. That's why so many times they show us, and we miss it. If you find what it is, it's a beautiful thing. When it becomes her love language, she submits to the king. If you can't see someone being there for you in the worst times, be honest with yourself instead of ignoring the signs. It's not always rosy, but you can choose every time. Emotional intelligence is like the jewel of the Nile. Discuss your expectations so the lines can be defined. Make sure punishments fit the crime before any time that you resign. Always put the love over pride. If things fall apart, find peace of mind cause you tried. And if you can't decide, better buckle up, it's about to be a long ride. Took the run but can't hide. Sacrifice your dignity thinking of all the times you complied. Then you let it slide. Suppressed what was in front of you for something on the side. The thrill of the moments came from the attention she supplied. Dazed and confused cause you don't feel satisfied. Trying to tell you, man, you need to skip the line. Just be willing to make the decision when it's time for you to find. Sometimes we have to adjust and refine, or your growth is behind since this whole time you've been confined. It's really simple, we make it complicated. Are you gonna do what it takes for both to be accommodated? What's love gotta do with anything? It's overrated. Invest in those who invest in you, or you're gonna hate it. Gotta give a shout out to my lady, been a king ever since, which we met in 1980. Girl, I love the conversations and the kind of communicating we do when we relating. Fellas, it's real inspiration when you wake up every day and be yourself, no explanation. Ladies, that's real motivation when they don't have to sort through the excuses you've been making. Come on now, let's face it, stringing this man along knowing all along that you was faking. I think it's time we awaken. Been going on way too long with a lot of gas and no braking. The power of manipulating wasn't given in an abundance to a man, it's no debating. Excuse me, is this seat taken? It's exhausting when you're challenging things you've been thinking. People spend more time complaining and escaping than they ever would in the process of choosing who to create with. It's about more than who we mate with. Measure twice and cut once because a heart is nothing to play with. Man, everything can be great, but it takes two people choosing to love over hate. Every single time we're together, it's a date. She knows how to get me anytime and in any place. It was only by God's grace came that lucky man waking up every day to your face. A lot of people on cruise control, but it's a race to see who can serve the other the most. Set the pace. When you know you got the right one, you want them in your space. Take heed to the way you feel when you know it ain't the case. A lot of people ain't even started and already need a break. Contemplating all the things you would do if you could just get out the gate. But you're afraid to let go of what you got because you know you made a mistake. Constant debates and a lot of time that you waste. One person is selling if you got what it takes. Sometimes we need change to avoid being displaced. Now I be eating charcuterie with grapes before my steaks. If you didn't hear any of the words I'm trying to say, be with the one that you want and watch haters fade to gray. Never care what people say, but take accountability today or you're gonna pay. Life is too short to let anyone push you away from being fulfilled. I'm talking about every day. Set your boundaries and then pray. Can't nobody walk on your back unless you lay. Come on, man, let's keep it real. What we all have in common is relationships that fail. If you're a man, stay out of jail. Watch what you do with your hands to avoid posting the bail. Don't be stupid. Prevail before you reduce yourself to the ultimate betrayal. Always know your worth. It's only 1 degree of separation between thriving and getting hurt.